Why do you live in the city you live in and not somewhere else? Say, for example, Iceland. If temperature has anything to do with your decision, then you have more in common with sharks than you might think. Let me explain. Today, I'm presenting to you the first chapter of my thesis, which looks at where sharks are, why they're there, and are we protecting them? All of this is focused on Australian waters. The data I use from this analysis is from commercial catch and effort data. So from commercial fisheries in Australian waters. So the sharks that I analyse, such as oceanic whitetips and mako sharks, have been assessed as being vulnerable to extinction. So it's very important that we look at these sharks now while we can still protect them. I developed hypotheses based on environmental parameters, things like sea surface temperature and how clear the water is. And these have been known to influence where sharks occur, both in Australian waters and around the world. I tested these hypotheses by developing binomial generalized linear models, which is basically a lot of maths. And what did I find? I found that sharks in Australian waters are influenced by temperature. Now this makes sense because the sharks I analysed are open ocean or pelagic sharks, and these sharks are known to have very specific temperature requirements. Now we know where sharks are, have an idea why they're there, I wanted to look at whether we're protecting them. This paper represents all of Australia's waters. How much of this area is highly suitable for these pelagic sharks? This represents the amount of highly suitable habitat for these pelagic sharks in Australian waters. But how much of this highly suitable habitat are we protecting? This much. However, just because these highly suitable habitat is enclosed within a marine park does not necessarily mean that these sharks are protected. How much of this highly suitable habitat enclosed within marine parks is protected from fishing? None of it. Less than 1% of the entire EEZ is highly suitable habitat, and none of that is protected from fishing. So where do sharks like to live? In Australian waters, pelagic sharks are associated with specific temperatures. However, I would recommend you go out and see them now while you can, because the way that things are going, you won't be able to see these sharks for very much longer, even in the world's clearest waters.